Walk through any major city in the world, and you'll find trash cans on every corner. New York, London, Paris, São Paulo. The assumption is universal. If you want clean streets, you put receptacles everywhere and hope people use them. Tokyo has 14 million people. It is one of the most visited cities on Earth. And it has almost no public trash cans, not because they forgot, not because they ran out of budget, because Japan arrived at a completely different conclusion about how clean cities actually get made, and the answer has nothing to do with infrastructure. 1. What happened to the trash cans? Tokyo removed most of its public trash cans in 1995 following the Aum Shinrikyo subway attacks, when nerve agent was hidden in trash receptacles across the city. Security concerns drove the initial removal. What happened next was unexpected. The streets didn't get dirtier. In many areas, they got cleaner. This forced a rethinking of an assumption so embedded in Western urban planning that nobody had ever questioned it, that clean streets require places to put trash. Japan discovered they don't. Clean streets require people who don't leave trash. The trash can was never the solution. It was a symptom management tool for a behavior problem that Japan had already solved through education, and that most of the rest of the world hasn't addressed at all. 2. The behavior underneath the cleanliness. Japanese urban cleanliness isn't maintained by the city. It's maintained by the people in it. This distinction sounds philosophical. It isn't. It has direct, measurable consequences for how cities function and what they cost to operate. Tokyo spends significantly less per capita on public cleaning than comparable Western cities, not because it has fewer cleaners. It has dedicated cleaning crews who maintain subways and stations to a standard that most Western transit systems never approach. But because the baseline behavior of the population produces a starting point that requires far less intervention. The average Japanese person leaving a convenience store with a bag of snacks will carry the wrapper home if no bin is available, not reluctantly, without thinking about it. Because the alternative, leaving it on the street, is not a behavior that was ever normalized. This isn't national character. It isn't something Japanese people are born with. It is the direct consequence of 12 years of cleaning their own schools every single day, of growing up in a culture where the shared environment is understood as a personal responsibility, not a municipal one. The city is clean because the people in it were taught, through daily practice rather than instruction, that it is theirs to maintain. 3. The convenience store. System. One of the quiet infrastructure solutions Japan developed in response to the lack of public bins is worth examining on its own. Every convenience store in Japan, and there are approximately 56,000 of them across the country, has a trash sorting station at the entrance. Burnable waste, non-burnable cans, bottles, paper. You buy something, you dispose of the packaging immediately and correctly before you leave. The convenience store becomes the trash infrastructure for the surrounding neighborhood. The bins are maintained, sorted, and emptied by store staff as part of normal operations. This system works because Japanese convenience stores are genuinely convenient. There is almost never a point in a Japanese city where you are more than a few minutes from one. The infrastructure exists. It just isn't on every corner because it doesn't need to be. The West builds infrastructure and hopes behavior follows. Japan shapes behavior and builds infrastructure to support it. 4. What happens on the trains? Japanese trains carry millions of passengers daily. They are clean in a way that passengers from other countries consistently find remarkable and slightly disorienting. No graffiti, no litter between seats, no food waste on floors, windows without scratches, upholstery without cuts or stains. This isn't because surveillance is intense. It isn't because fines are severe. It's because the behavior that would produce those outcomes, leaving trash, vandalizing surfaces, treating shared transit as disposable, was never normalized in the first place. Japanese transit workers do clean trains, but they are cleaning surfaces that have been treated with care, not restoring damage that passengers have caused. The distinction matters enormously for what the job requires and what it costs. There is a word in Japanese, meiwaku, that means causing trouble or inconvenience to others. It carries genuine social weight. Leaving your trash on a train is meiwaku, not because someone will fine you, because you are making the shared environment worse for everyone who comes after you. That sense of responsibility to future users of a shared space, people you will never meet, who will experience what you left behind, is the invisible infrastructure underneath every clean surface in Japan. 5. The sorting culture. Japan has one of the most rigorous waste sorting systems in the world. Depending on the municipality, garbage is separated into anywhere from 4 to 13 categories: burnable, non-burnable, plastic, glass, cans, paper, cardboard, food waste, small metal items, large items requiring special collection. Each category has specific collection days. Bags must be the correct designated color for the neighborhood. Items must be prepared correctly. Bottles rinsed, caps removed, labels stripped. Getting it wrong is noticed. Neighbors notice. The collection workers notice. The bag gets left with a tag explaining what was done incorrectly. Western waste management culture treats sorting as an imposition, something the government requires that inconveniences daily life. Japanese waste culture treats sorting as participation, your contribution to a system that functions because everyone maintains their part of it. The same philosophy that produces a child cleaning a school hallway produces an adult carefully preparing their recycling at 6 a.m. on collection day. It was always the same lesson, applied at a different scale. 6. What the West gets wrong about clean cities. Western urban cleanliness policy operates almost entirely on infrastructure and enforcement. More bins, higher fines, more cleaning staff, better signage, public awareness campaigns with slogans nobody reads. None of these address the actual problem. Clean cities aren't produced by infrastructure or enforcement. They are produced by populations who have internalized the understanding that shared spaces are their responsibility. You cannot find your way to that understanding. You cannot bin your way to it. You cannot campaign your way to it. You can only teach your way to it through daily practice across childhood until the behavior is so embedded it doesn't require a decision. Japan taught it, and the result is 14 million people moving through one of the world's most densely populated cities, leaving almost nothing behind. Tokyo isn't clean because it's Japanese. It's clean because Japan made a decision decades ago about what children would learn through the structure of their daily lives, and then built an entire culture of shared responsibility on top of that foundation. The trash cans were never the point. They were never going to be the point. That's it. If this changed how you think about the cities you live in, subscribe. Every week, we look at what Japan does differently and why it works. See you next week.